Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to tell you a 2016 movie called The Boy Enjoy Watching. The girl arrives at a house that looks like a castle, but his owners are not at home yet, and she is asked to wait for them a little. She doesn't waste time and examines the house. While Greta was looking at the toys, Malcolm came up to her to say hello. He works as a grocery delivery man and also owns a shop. While they are laying out the groceries, they are trying to get to know each other better. She asks him about the family that owns the house. The man says that they are very good people, whom, unfortunately, you rarely meet now. But when she asks about the character of the Brahms family's son, Malcolm says that his character is difficult to describe. At this moment, the hostess comes. When she notices that Greta is not wearing shoes, she tells her to put them on, as Brahms may not like it. But soon the girl notices that her shoes are missing, then she is told that Brahms most likely took them, since he likes to fool around. Having found other shoes, she is led to get acquainted with him. She first got to know her husband, Mr. Heelshire, and then Brahms himself. Except he's a doll. When they see this, Greta begins to laugh out loud, but after piercing the eyes of the owners of the house, she calms down and greets Brahms. Taking Greta to her room, the woman says that they had too many nannies, but Brahms did not approve of any of them. She will need to wake him up every morning and dress him. Brahms has various classes for 3 hours, 5 days a week. One of them is poetry and music. While the owner of the house shows Greta the mousetraps, he says that he understands that it all looks very strange, and he himself does not understand how it happened. But nevertheless, no matter how it looks from the outside, their son is always with them. At night, Mr. and Mrs. Heelshire say a prayer to Brahms before going to bed. Greta is watching all this. Then the parents ask to be left alone with their son and close the door. After a couple of minutes, they leave the room and inform the girl that their son has chosen her and agrees that she should be his nanny. Greta is in her room talking on the phone with her friend Sandy. She tells her about what is happening in this house, that they have no neighbors and Wi-Fi, and that it is creepy for her to be in this place. Then her friend calms her down and says that she needs to be patient a little, because she will be paid a lot of money for nursing a doll, and besides, it's only for a couple of months, and then, having saved up money, she will be able to start life from scratch. The next morning, Mr. Heelshire gives Greta Brahms' schedule, as they are going on vacation and the girl will be left alone with their child. Malcolm will also bring them groceries once a week and, if necessary, answer all her questions. When Brahms' parents leave, Greta covers the doll in the trench and tells him that he scares her. The girl goes about her business. She has breakfast, reads a book, and then goes to sleep a little. When she wakes up in the middle of the night, she notices that the blanket has fallen off the doll. Then she takes it, carries it into the room, and throws it on a chair. After a while, the woman wakes up again from strange noises. She goes to check where they come from. She walks up to the painting, from which at one point hands reach out and grab Greta by the neck. Fortunately, it was just a dream. A scared girl wakes up and hears children's laughter. She goes to check where the noise is coming from. Entering the room, she finds Brahms there, who is still sitting on an armchair, but tears are flowing from his eyes. But as it soon turned out, it was just water dripping from the ceiling. She picks him up and puts him to bed. After examining the ceiling, the girl finds the door to the attic, but she could not open it. After a while, Malcolm arrives. He gives Greta her first money for the job. Then the girl asks to tell her the story of the doll. For this, they come to Brahms' grave. The fact is that the boy died on his birthday during a fire, and soon this doll appeared in the house. He says it may seem very strange, but it makes it easier for his parents, as it is very difficult to survive the death of their child. About 20 years have passed since Brahms' death. In the evening, Greta goes for a walk with Malcolm and talks on the phone with Sandy. But when she looked in the mirror, she noticed that Brahms' head was turned in her direction, that he was watching her, and then, worried, she closed the door. While Greta is taking a shower, someone takes her dress and jewelry. The girl also discovers that something is wrong with her hair, that a strand of her hair is too short, as if someone cut it off. Greta panics, she can't find her clothes, and later notices that the door to the attic is open. When the girl goes up there, the attic closes. Through the cracks in the wall, she notices how Malcolm arrived and tries to call him with screams, and later tries to create maximum noise at all, but he still does not hear her and leaves. In an attempt to somehow explore the area to make it easier to navigate, She sees a silhouette of a man in front of her and falls unconscious from fright. A new day has already arrived. Greta gets up and realizes that it was just a costume, not a person. In the attic, the girl finds a Brahms children's photo album. And while she was looking at it, the attic opened. Malcolm comes to visit, and Greta tells him about what happened. When he comes to the attic, he closes himself, which surprises the guy, and he decides to inspect the whole house. But in the end, he finds nothing unusual. While playing billiards, the girl asks the guy about Brahms and what he was like when he was alive. Malcolm also wondered this question. One day he caught Mr. Heelshire drunk, and then he asked him what Brahms was like. And he only briefly replied, strange. But only Brahms can hear their whole conversation now. In the evening, Greta talks to her friend again. She advises the girl to be careful and not to trust Malcolm so much, since they only recently met him and who knows what he really is. She also says that Cole, Greta's ex-boyfriend, came to see her. He was trying to find out the address where the girl is now in order to write her a letter of apology for his actions. But only Sandy's son, a 10-year-old boy, opened the door. And he told him the address that Greta was hiding. The girl has a nightmare with the doll again. She approaches him to turn his head to the side, but he turns her back. Greta wakes up and goes to check on Brahms. But when she opens the door, she discovers her shoes, which Brahms took away on the first day when the girl arrived at the house. Then she goes to Brahms' room and notices that the doll is no longer lying, but sitting on the corner of the bed, and next to it is a list of tasks for Brahms' care that his parents left. Greta locks the door in a panic. Then she wants to call her friend, but the phone doesn't work. But soon a call arrives, and the girl picks up the phone and hears a child's voice calling her name and asks her to leave the room to play. This scares her even more. And then, through a crack in the door, she sees children's feet, and then something was brought to her. The girl opens the door, and there's a plate of sandwiches. The girl already feels that she is starting to go crazy. She walks up to Brahms and checks his reaction. Then she turns her attention to the list of how to treat him and asks him if he really wants it. In the next scene, we are shown Mr. and Mrs. Heelshire, who wrote a farewell letter to their son, and then quietly went under the water together. Greta does everything that is indicated in the task list. Wakes up Brahms, makes him breakfast, reads him fairy tales, and puts him to bed before going to bed, but she does not kiss him goodnight. The next day, she teaches Brahms how to play the piano. At this moment, Malcolm comes to visit. He is very surprised by what is happening. He also brings her groceries and letters that came to the address of the house. Malcolm invites Greta on an evening date, but she refuses him as she does not want to leave Brahms alone. Then Malcolm starts making fun of the doll, but Greta refuses him anyway. When the guy leaves, the girl gives Brahms his dinner and then starts crying, saying that if there is a ghost in this house, then let him give her a sign. The girl can't stand it and goes to throw away Brahms' dinner, but when she returns, he is no longer there. Greta asks Malcolm to come back in order to make sure that she is not crazy. She tells him that Brahms is alive. She circles it with chalk, since it's a doll and it's not supposed to move. And then Greta and Malcolm go into another room, but Malcolm doesn't believe her. After a while, they return to the room, but the doll remains sitting in place. Then she persuades him to reveal the truth to Malcolm, otherwise she will leave. They leave again, and when they return, they find Brahms sitting in another corner of the room. Greta and Malcolm are walking and discussing this phenomenon. The girl says that she understands Brahms' parents, since she herself lost her unborn child not so long ago. Malcolm then says he is happy to have met her, and then they kiss. After putting Brahms to bed, the lovers make love in the next room. Only Brahms saw everything through the keyhole, and then music started playing all over the house. Greta calms Brahms down, saying that it was not necessary to turn on the music so loudly, because it can make you deaf. After putting him back to sleep, Malcolm tells Greta in detail about the day of Brahms' death. It was like this. Previously, Emily's girl used to come to the house once a week to play with Brahms. She also came on his birthday, but did not return home. Sometime later, she was found in the woods with a fractured skull. The police wanted to question Brahms about what happened, but when they arrived, the house was already on fire. The parents managed to leave the house, and Brahms burned alive. Emily's killer has still not been found. Malcolm told this story for a reason, because he is not sure that this doll is harmless. He worries about Greta's life, but the girl just says she's not going anywhere. After a while, the girl hears sounds in the house. She thinks it's Malcolm coming, but no. This is Greta's ex-boyfriend, Cole. When he sees a doll instead of a child, he thinks that the girl is joking with him. Then he gives her a plane ticket and tells her that they are flying home tomorrow. Malcolm arrives soon after. Greta introduces him as a food delivery guy, and then the guy leaves, but he's afraid to leave Greta all alone. So he stays overnight in the car near the house to come to the rescue a little bit. She puts Cole to sleep in another room, saying that she will sleep separately. The guy starts to get angry and threaten Greta that she won't leave him anywhere and that he will find her wherever she goes. Before going to bed, Greta calms Brahms down and asks him for help. Soon, Cole wakes up to something dripping on his head. He calls Greta and starts yelling at her. He asks her who wrote the phrase, "Get out," in blood on the wall. But Greta says it wasn't her. The girl realizes that it was Brahms and runs to protect the doll. Cole is trying to take her away. Meanwhile, Malcolm hears screams and runs into the house to save Greta. But Cole still takes the doll away. The guys try to explain everything to him and save the doll, but Cole breaks it. Strange sounds begin to be made in the house. Lamps flicker. And when Cole goes to the mirror, it explodes. And Brahms climbs out of it in a porcelain mask. He beats up Cole, and then a fragment from the doll stabs him in the neck. Greta and Malcolm hide in one of the rooms, where they find a secret place and go down there hoping to find a way out. But they find the place where the real Brahms has been hiding all this time. There, on the bed, the girl finds a doll dressed in her dress. She begins to realize that Brahms has been watching her all this time. Also there, she finds a letter that Brahms' parents left for him. It says that they will not return anymore, and that the girl now belongs to him, and he must love and take care of her. Malcolm finds another exit. They go down there. But Brahms finds them there. They manage to escape from him for a short time. But while Greta is trying to open the door facing the street, Malcolm decides to go towards Brahms to distract him. But only Brahms turns out to be stronger and brutally beats Malcolm, even losing consciousness. Brahms then asks Greta to come back to him, and he promises to behave himself. But if she leaves, he will kill Malcolm. The girl manages to get out, and she runs away from home. But after a while, realizes that he cannot leave his lover there and returns back, taking a stabbing object with him as self-defense. When she meets Brahms, she informs him that she will not leave him alone, as promised. Then she starts bossing him around, because she's his babysitter. She tells him it's time to go to bed, and he obediently listens to her. She puts him to bed. He asks her to kiss him goodnight, but she refuses him, saying that he is being punished. When she is about to leave, he grabs her hand and asks her to kiss him again. Greta still kisses him, but Malcolm can't stop. The girl, considering this a great moment, takes a piercing object and plunges it into his chest. But he throws her against the wall, and then begins to strangle her. Then Greta plunges her weapon even deeper into him. Then she returns and takes Malcolm with her, and they leave this house to start a new life. Meanwhile, Brahms is rebuilding his doll piece by piece. The end.